All right. Hey, this is Jeremy. I'm the children's pastor at First Baptist Church of the Islands, and this is your Thursday 5 for 5 devotion. Did you know that when you become a Christian, a follower of Jesus, you take on two major responsibilities, two very important commands. The first is to love God with all that you have, and the second is to love your neighbor as yourself. Love God, love others. Love God, serve others. Now, in Luke chapter 10, there was an expert in the religious law who came to Jesus, and he knew these commands, but he had a question for Jesus. So he asked, "Who is my neighbor?" So Jesus tells this man a story. You may have heard of it. It's called the story of the Good Samaritan. It goes like this. There's a Jewish man going from Jerusalem to Jericho. The man gets beat up by bandits. He gets stripped of all he has, and he's left for dead right there on the road. There are three characters in the story who go by the man. The first is a priest, someone who has a holy position. He sees the man in need. Does he help? No, he just goes by. The second, a Levite, somebody who also works in the temple. All right, he sees the man. Is he going to help? Nope, he just goes right on by. The third man is a Samaritan. Now, this is somebody that Jewish people, like the man who was left for dead, it's somebody that Jewish people despise. But the Samaritan, he takes responsibility for this man. He takes the Jewish man to an inn, and he pays for the Jewish man to stay there and to get better. And he even vows to come back and pay even more money if that's what it takes to help the Jewish man. So after that story, Jesus asked that religious expert, hey, who was the one who showed what it meant to be a good neighbor? And in verse 37, the religious expert replies, well, the one who showed mercy. And Jesus says back to him, yes, now go and do the same. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever driven through downtown Savannah and saw homeless people around and thought, you know what? Somebody should really do something about the homeless people down here. Now, if you've ever done that, you probably thought, well, maybe the city government or maybe the church. Yeah, the church could do this. But what do you mean by that? You know, we always want to take the responsibility that we have as a follower of Jesus and pass it to somebody else. But what if God wants us to step up and say, you know what? Maybe God can use me to meet this need. And we don't have to do it alone. That's why we have the church, so we can do it together. But we can't just pass it over to somebody else and say, hey, they can take responsibility for it. No. God called all of us as individuals and collectively as a church to do it together. So if you see a need in our church, you see a need in our community, and you're the one who thinks in their head, hey, somebody needs to do something about it, step up. Lead the way. Rally some people around and say, you know what? Let's do something about this. Why? Because it's a responsibility for anyone who follows Jesus. Because your neighbor is anyone and everyone. Everyone you come in contact with today is your neighbor. And you have a responsibility to help them if there's a need, to help bear their burdens, to show them the love of Jesus. You may not get anything in return. That's okay. You're doing it because your love for Jesus compels you to do it. Hey, look, I hope today that you get a chance to step up, to take responsibility, to show love to a neighbor, anyone you meet. I hope you have a great day. See ya.